Tom, a brand new sushi place has opened in South Park. With the addition of the new Chinese restaurant, townspeople are officially naming this whole Chinatown area Little Tokyo.
What the f-
Greetings from GalaxyCon Columbus. Well, first it was supposed to be the Mile High Club, but for some reason my iPad doesn't save changes I made. So I write this script from GalaxyCon Columbus, and I recorded in my hotel room. Hi, I'm Kitty Monk, and I'm here to talk to you about South Park, or more specifically, Tong Lu Kim. I do have a longer video planned for him eventually, especially on his life and his wife. Yeah, that rhymes. But for now, we're gonna stick to the one thing y'all probably remember him for, beyond making walls to keep out the Mongolians and child abductors, because as we all know, the enemy is poverty, and the wall keeps out the enemy, and we build the wall to keep us free. That's why we built the wall. We build the wall to keep us free. Now, as we all know, Tong Lu Kim is a recurring character in South Park that appears sparingly but is still highly memorable. He runs the only Chinese restaurant in town, City Walk, which, fun fact, is a real restaurant. The South Park crew often orders from there, and they actually went ahead and got permission from the people who run the real-life City Walk to include the name on the show. City Walk is best known for sounding like a word that rhymes with my name, if it were a curse. All thanks to Mr. Kim's thick accent.
Welcome to City Walk. Can I take an order, please?
For this reason, City Walk is extremely popular, except during Christmas.
Christmas time coming and nobody want to eat a Chinese food. Looks like I might as well close.
Which I call BS on because Kyle's family is Jewish and they don't celebrate Christmas. He should have at least one customer, maybe two. However, then came competition for City Walk called City Sushi.
What the f-
So let's discuss. It's a known fact that Butters has a plethora of personas, which might get their own video, or videos down the line, depends on how I'm feeling that week. While Roger Smith might have a real mental illness tied back to his personas, we all know that's not the case with Butters. I mean, maybe he's horrifically abused like a Meadowlands drag horse, but he's too innocent to know that yet. But keep this mentally ill thought in mind going forward. It will be a consistent theme this episode. Butters opens up the episode as Postman Butters.
Hello, sir. Postman Butters with a special delivery for you.
Really, Butters? Postman Butters? Your other characters sound awesome sauce and clever, or they somehow relate to your name in a cute way, like mantequilla because it's Spanish for butter, or margarine because it sounds like actual margarine, a substitute for butter. How does Postman Butters relate to butter? Just seems lazy. Anyhow, Butters has been tasked with passing out flyers advertising a new restaurant called City Sushi.
Special delivery, ma'am. Here you are, sir. Brand new sushi restaurant in town. A flyer for you from Postman Butters.
If those folks lived in the Bikini Bottom, they would get lethal injections. Butters, speaking from experience, the trick is to put it in their windshield wipers, or hang them on their doors, or just not stick to one area. Or do what the ice cream shop near me did and launch a heavy social media campaign before you open. Butters goes to deliver one last flyer to Tong Lu Kim.
Oh no, a sushi place? How come every time a hard-working Chinese man open a business, some smelly Japanese dog had to come and try and invade him?
Would you rather it be a Mongolian restaurant? Because I just googled and there's like 3 in Columbus alone. Or what about an artistically coded character with his lyre? Kitty, you don't know for certain if that's the case with Orpheus. The fandom says it, Catherine. I obey them. And my fans love you, so I have to include you more often. Kim is upset that a sushi restaurant is opening nearby, and it's totally gonna steal all 5 of his customers. After all, everybody loves sushi, except for me. I don't like sushi. I like rice, and I do enjoy chicken teriyaki from time to time, but not sushi. I'm sorry to disappoint y'all with your kitty sushi fantasies. Kim goes to City Sushi and meets its owner, Mr. Takayama.
Welcome to a City Sushi. Can I take an order, please?
Oh no!
Sorry, Kyle. I tried to resist, but burrito is too delicious.
Mr. Takayama, weren't you part of the human Sentai pad? And you just opened up a restaurant? That's funny.
I am speaking English. Why don't you speak English? You sober-eating
Get out or I call police!
You're not from around here, son. Don't know who the hell you are, but I can tell you don't belong. These are working people, son. Law-abiding citizens. What I find funny about this is kind of like Orpheus and Hades. Mr. Takayama and Tong Lu Kim are two sides of the same coin. Mr. Takayama is a stereotype of Japanese people, while Tong Lu Kim is one of Chinese people. Well, his primary purpose was to make fun of all Asians, or just how people tend to correlate all East Asians into one homogeneous blob. Am I saying that word right? But neither ever noticed the obvious. Instead, they just spit insults at each other.
Come on, kid. You don't want to eat this sushi. It give you worms.
Better than a kung pao chicken made from a cat!
Well, it's mostly because Tom Lu Kim instigates it and he doesn't know when to stop. And I think this is a good jumping off point. To be honest, when it came time for me to review this episode, I completely forgot it existed. You ever have a favorite show and there's one episode that for some reason you just forget exists until it pops up on, say, TV or Hulu? With South Park, this is mine. I don't think it's a bad episode, but my theory is that because season 15 had so many standouts, this episode tends to fall under my radar. And since I now review South Park, I often find myself going back to the same episodes. More than I care to admit. A good portion tend to be from season 15, and since I analyze them so intensely, I remember them more so. However, I think another reason is for the longest time, I thought this was a throwaway episode. Like, one of those episodes where it's not meant to satirize or make fun of anything, it's just Matt and Trey found a topic they like, and rather than give any actual commentary or message, they just have fun with it. South Park usually tends to do this once a season. Think toilet paper, turd burglars, help my teenager hates me. Then, when I was on the plane to Columbus, I realized something. This episode is meant to make fun of people who confuse Chinese and Japanese, or think that Asian always equals those two.
So are you Chinese or Japanese?
We the ocean.
The ocean?
So are you Chinese or Japanese?
Oh.
Trey Parker is a huge fan of Japan. He majored in Japanese in college, he's fluent in the language. Actually, most of the Japanese in the show is correct because of that. He takes frequent trips there, he even briefly married a Japanese woman. And as we all know, Asians do not carry the ginger gene. Good for him, his ex-wife had a soul. I wouldn't be surprised if this was something that always drove him up a wall or was a pet peeve. Oh, I want sushi. Hey Trey, we should check out this Chinese restaurant. I bet they have sushi. And then he would have to explain, no guys, sushi is Japanese. Anyhow, I feel like I'm getting off track. For starting an Asian turf war, Stephen Chris's words, not mine.
What? An Asian turf war? Butters!
Butters is grounded. Even though chances are Tong Lu Kim was probably gonna find out about city sushi anyway.
What the f-
Butters just made it quicker and more convenient for him. This perplexes his parents. His parents believe Butters did such a thing because he has mental health problems.
Oh, for the love of Pete! What is wrong with that boy?
I don't know, but it's clear it isn't our parenting. We're awesome.
To ascertain whether or not he really does, Stephen, Chris, and Linda take Butters to a therapist named Dr. Janus.
Well, Dr. Janus?
Wait, his name is Dr. Janus? Is Janus a... Kitty, no, don't make that alien joke. I was gonna say Lebanese, Catherine. Dr. Janus diagnoses Butters with multiple personality disorder, which, as a few of my viewers have reminded me, is now called dissociative personality disorder, or DID. OMG, clearly Butters has the DID. Wait, am I allowed to call it that? Okay, you know what? He has DID.
Oh my god!
From what I gather, he seems to mostly jump in and out of personalities when he's outside playing. Sometimes he's a cowboy, and other times he's an Indian.
Regardless, he's not just a child playing pretend.
What your son needs now is lots of tender, loving medication. Heavy medication.
I think they told me that when I got diagnosed. But rather than using the episode to make fun of over-medicating children, I guess because they already did that with the Ritalin episode, this time they make fun of Linda and Steve and Chris, which I am all here for. Butters has taken his medication and it seems to not be working.
Now he thinks he's a truck driver.
Oh god, the medication isn't working!
10-4, good buddy. You got a smoky on your tab.
On the bright side, I think this makes the episode a little more realistic. Unfortunately, speaking from experience, medicines often take a while to kick in or for you to notice that they're working, and during this time, you gotta put up with the worst side effects ever. Speaking of, I'm curious, what medications do they prescribe people with DID? Back to the main plot, Tong Lu Kim says that he comes in peace.
What we need is to have a Tweety.
What is a Tweety?
No, we need a Tweety.
A Tweety?
No, not a Tweety, a Tweety!
What if you guys have a treaty, but it's notarized by Tweety? What? Come on, I'm just trying to help you. Compromise is how you make decisions. To this end, Tom Lu Kim says that they should partner up and do a tolerance assembly at South Park Elementary. They will tell the students the differences between Japan and China, and likely why these stereotypes persist and how people can tell the differences and all that.
You know, so they know fried rice isn't from Japan and teriyaki isn't from China.
Teriyaki isn't from China?
No, teriyaki not from China!
Which, okay, it's a good idea. Better than sending everybody to tolerance camp. And learning about other cultures is one of my favorite parts of conventions. However, here's the prob, Bob, or Lapis. Tom Lu Kim really did this in order to lie to the children, who I'm sure do indeed care about this pointless feud. He says that Japanese people are evil and hate China.
And that's why the Japanese always try to take over China!
What?
The Japanese rape and kill people in Nanking!
Yeah, I'm not going into that. Google it on your own time. But the main stereotype he points out is how Japanese people regularly commit unalive. And rather than explain why this statistic is so high, he simply states,
Oh no, I'm a Japanese and I had a bad day. I think I'm gonna kill myself.
Tom Lu Kim, stop being stereotypical. I know it's like telling a fish not to swim, but please. You're lucky this is before PC Principal. He wouldn't make you watch your microaggressions, bro. Elsewhere, Butters is getting acquainted with Dr. Janus, my least favorite mean girl because the movie, and more so the musical, try way too hard to glorify her. While Dr. Janus seems nice at first, it turns out he's the one with the problem.
Is one of your other personalities trying to take over?
Let's play Battleship. All hands on the poop deck.
Your soul will bleed for eternity. That big bad freshness lasts right through it.
The horn toad says we should go to Mexico.
Question. Do therapists have their own therapists? Like the unending chain of mailmen from SpongeBob? Do they spill secrets from their sessions to other therapists, like over coffee or beer? If I had to guess, Dr. Janus is one of those therapists who is very hands-off, like White Diamond, and would prefer you figure things out yourself. So Butters has to take his recovery into his own hands and record himself sleeping.
I understand. There are people living inside my head, and they want to kill me. It must be true, because now every night I wet the bed.
Perv. And he discovers... Yeah, that's not paranoia fuel. That's not reminding me of when I used to get sleep paralysis. Wiggle your big toe, Butters. Wiggle your big toe. Butters shows the tape to Dr. Janus, who...
What, Inspector Butters figured out I set him up? Come on, you think multiple personality disorder is real? I've been using that to scam this town for 7 years.
Well, I mean, first off, it's not called that anymore. You're a therapist, you should know that. Second, I'm pretty sure Butters has insurance, or his parents at least do. And third, I want to speak to your manager. Sorry, I don't know how therapists work. Dr. Janus forces Butters to help him commit a robbery. Or else.
Go, move it! Get this on and get in that vault! That's where the real goods are! Torch that door, do you hear me? I'll kill your parents! I'll kill your friends!
Or else, I don't frickin' know. Maybe he'll raise his deductibles or break HIPAA or something. What place are they robbing? An old-fashioned jewelry store vault, because of course there's always a giant vault just sitting around waiting to be robbed and opened. Too bad.
Oh boy, you've really done it this time. I know it's not your fault, but I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to alert the authorities, pal. You have to try and understand that he can't help what he's doing, officer.
Butters, maybe you should be like Peter and the guys and start wearing a body cam, if only because then you would have actual proof for your parents and for the authorities. Or maybe you should try to tell your parents and the authorities about Dr. Janus so they'll unground you or give you a restraining order. For this,
Well, I suppose there's no need for jail, Mr. and Mrs. Stotch, so long as you ground your son. Oh, we'll ground the out of him, Detective. Thank you so much.
thankfully, Butters would later taste the sticky ooze of prison, well, jail, for being a gross pincher during St. Patty's Day. But this episode isn't about Butters, right? Fine, we should go back to the main plot, or whatever plot the episode is titled after. This time, Tong Lu Kim offers Takayama another course of action, Asian Diversity Festival. Ooh.
But that sneaky Chinese man, he's gone. Okay, if we can have an Asian Diversity Festival, then we no longer have to deal with a racial stereotype.
Even if they're like the only Asians in town at this point. No offense, it just feels like there really isn't a lot they could say that hasn't already been said. And Tong Lu Kim has shown everybody, including Mr. Takayama, that he isn't trustworthy and he hates Japanese people.
He was very sneaky. Kind of like a Pearl Harbor. Okay? Pearl Harbor kind of sneaky. I think we can all be a little sneaky sometime.
See what I mean? Too bad Mr. Takayama is Allison Hightower levels of gullible and agrees to the request. However, he makes one thing clear.
You better not rub your hands together when you turn around to walk away.
And at that Asian Diversity Day, you're gonna get a little surprise, you Japanese dog.
This reminds me of something.
Have plans. What are you doing? I'm wringing my hands. Menacingly.
That's weird, but fitting. To finish his treatment, Butters has burned all of his disguises.
That does it, you hear me? I am through with all of you. No more Postman Butters, no more Inspector Butters.
And I know for a fact that all of these personas will not appear in any future episode or video game. F in the comments for your favorite Butters persona. Afterwards, he's approached by one of Janus's other personalities, I guess?
Ah!
Butters, please! It's me, Billy!
He's Marvin's grandson too? Or a quiz boy? Or both?
The mean man that lives in our head is trying to take over for good!
Excuse me?
No! Don't call out for help! He's got a gun!
Well, I don't know about you, but trauma and fear, it sings in my ear. While this is going on, Mr. Takayama is getting ready for the festival. But wait, where is Tong Lu Kim? He's the other guest of honor.
Mr. Takayama, a note for you.
And when you get to the top of that tower, you're gonna get a little surprise, you Japanese. Oh, sorry. Anyway, see you on top of tower.
Part of me feels like he did not completely read this and we just got this speech for the benefit of us, the audience.
I can't even read English!
Come on, he didn't read the terms and conditions for iTunes, did he? Why would he read a note written by his worst enemy who openly hates his guts? As it turns out, Dr. Janus has got a really nice bed. Ugh, how I wish I could afford that. And after one switch too many, Butters opens a door to discover...
Holy crap, what time is it? Oh no, I'm late!
Holy crap, see, I told you. What a twist. In truth, Tong Lu Kim isn't an Asian man who runs a Chinese restaurant. He's a white man with DID, and his dominant personality is that of a Chinese man. So basically, he's a white man who thinks he's Chinese. And I just gotta say, I kinda like this twist, just because of how out there it is, and how much foreshadowing went into it. Now yeah, it's pretty obvious this wasn't planned planned out. South Park is never planned out. They just did it to hand wave and make fun of a character. But that just makes it funnier. And in a weird way, it kind of makes sense. I mean, first, let's look at the names. Janus is named after a Roman god who is often depicted with two faces, kind of like Voldemort. And he's also the reason we have January, not Juno. Sorry, Juno. Tong Lu Kim, that's another impressive layer. His name is one big amalgamation of Asian-sounding names, but only one of them are Chinese. Tong is a Vietnamese first name, Lu is a Chinese last name, and Kim is a Korean last name. But according to the South Park wiki, which is where I got this fun factoid, Lu and Kim are also Vietnamese. His names sound so crazy because, think about it, some mentally ill man just made it up. This guy is going off of stereotypes because he probably knows nothing about Asians. I bet that Dr. Janus probably thinks teriyaki is Chinese, not Japanese. Realizing he neglected his feud against an actual Asian, Kim goes to the festival, where he reveals his master plan. He will shove Takayama off the tower because clearly the police can't do math, and nobody will expect him because of stereotypes. Oh, I guess you're familiar with that.
I'm going to put an end to you, and everyone's gonna think it's just because you did what Japanese people love doing most. No, don't do it!
Clearly there isn't a letter linking you to the crime, or a bunch of witnesses saying that he openly hated Mr. Takayama, including an entire school and likely all of their customers. Of course, Takayama doesn't take the bait, until...
We know the truth, Dr. Janus!
It's the Chinese rat trying to kill me.
He's not Chinese. He's white. Your name is Dr. Janus.
Wow, it's weird to see Sergeant Yates seem so proactive as a police officer. Good to see Butters ignored his instincts to be grounded, however. This could have gotten messy.
How could I let myself believe white man was the Chinese? Blah! No, this is racial stereotype.
Oh. Well, at least he's somewhere down there, way down under the ground, eating all of the cuttlefish and asparagus he wants. Butters is happy that Dr. Janus will finally get the help he needs.
But then again, does the world really need another therapist? Would it really be so bad for us to just let him go on thinking he's Lu Kim forever? Now that City Sushi is gone, City Walk is the only Chinese restaurant left in town.
Okay, there it is. Now you're seeming in character. Oh, and Sergeant Yates, to borrow a quote from Tong Lu Kim, sushi is not Chinese. And I'm sure there's always Panda Express or Sarku Japan if you just need your fix. The officers decide to allow Dr. Janus to go free, provided that everybody continues to pretend he's Tong Lu Kim. But what if they don't? What are you gonna do then?
I'm not even gonna swat that fry. There, see? And now say, wow, that is City Walk owner. Why, he wouldn't even harm a fry.
Ooh, what if you open up a hotel, motel, or a town powered by the dead? Do you want to conduct the Electric City? Speaking of, wow, that ending is so tragic. Think about it. The real Dr. Janus is forever trapped in his own mind, and he will never wake up just because it's more convenient to people.
Good! All right!
Yeah, go, all right.
Detective, he's asking for a blanket. Is that all right? Go ahead. We're gonna process him and get him back to the restaurant.
It's like he just went to sleep, and that's it. Still, I do like this episode. It gave us a nice look into Tong Lu Kim, and it was great to see those two plots intermingle. Really, I don't think I have any gripes with it beyond I wish it got referenced more in other episodes. Beyond the quick joke when we met PC Principal.
A white man who thinks he's Chinese and built a wall to keep out Mongolians.
Ooh, I hate the Mongolians.
Or hey, revisit this. Asian food is more trendy nowadays, especially Korean food. They did make fun of yaoi. As for City Sushi, it's not the best South Park episode. Really, there isn't that much to talk about, but it is pretty entertaining. Sorry if this video was shorter than usual, but this weekend, if you could guess by my community tab, was super hectic. I did have a lot of fun. Thanks for having me, Columbus. thanks for whoever came to my panels, and I gotta say, it was fun going into Cracker Barrel for breakfast every morning, dressed as Sheila and getting a ton of looks. And I just want to put it out there, if you have any Christmas ideas, type away. Until then, bye!
Okay, meet me, Park County Airfield Yellow Cessna Tail number 432G.
Got it.
Never try to bother with a Chinese man.